جدا. كان اسمها كمت، يعني التربة السوداء للتربة مش للناس اللي عايشين جواها. دي اول حاجة. تاني حاجة بقى، ودي اكتر حاجة مضحكة، ولما بتكلم معاهم لو حد قالها لي ببقى عارفة ان ده واحد جاهل وان انا هكسب النقاش ده كده كده. لما بيجيبولي صورة الكوشيين اللي جم حكموا مصر كام سنة، اللي هم الناس السمر اللي جم حكموا مصر كام سنة، بعد كده احنا مشيناهم، بعد كده احنا حكمناهم، بيبقوا مضحكين جدا، لان حتى دولت مش فراعنه. يعني بيجيب لي الصوره حرفيا كل ما اتكلم مع واحد فيهم في الدي امز انستجرام او كده، راح باعت لي صوره الكوشيين اللي هم اصلا مش مصريين، ما فيهمش واحد مصري. يعني واخد لي الصوره سكرين شوت ويقول لي شفتي فراعنه سود اهو. ومش بجد اعرفوا ان هم جهله. اولا دولت مش مصريين. مملكه كوش حكمت في مصر فتره، بعديها احنا حكمناهم. ف دول مش فراعنه اصلا. فانت دافع اكتر عن المصريين اكتر من كليوباترا اصلا اليونانيين نفخينهم. خليكوا بقى في المصريين عشان هم عاملين بيقولوا في الكومنتس طب كنتوا مثلتوا حتشبسوت كده هتبقى اوقع. قال يعني حتشبسوت هي اللي
It's become fairly commonplace in the entertainment industry to race swap fictional characters, and oftentimes they come up with the same excuse, well, it was just the best person for the job, we really want to see representation. Oftentimes, it's solely for the purpose of identity politics. But over the last several years, now people are actually trying to race swap historical figures, actual people that exist in history. And whether it's passed off as something for entertainment purposes, or whether it's like in this case with Netflix, it's passed off as some historical fact, when in reality it couldn't be further from the truth.
Sir, this is absolutely despicable. This is one of our most sacred sections in the museum.
ميوزيم ايه يا اختي؟ روح اتكلي على الله. ده بيتنا. انت مين انت جايه تقولي ايه؟ ميوزيم؟ ده كل دول قرايبي وحبايبي، ده بيتنا.
Second of all, this is the same Hollywood that in 1956 they cast John Wayne as Genghis Khan. So this is a time where Hollywood didn't know any better. Now, the problem for me, it's not about color. It's not about white and black. This is a very reductive way to talk about things. This is the way that Americans talk about it. I'm very sorry. Like, I come from Egypt. Egypt has a very diverse color palette. People can look like me or they can look deeper skin tone like Anwar Sadat, who comes from a Nubian origin. It's not about black and white. It's about the continuous culture appropriation and falsification of history that has been done by what the so-called Afrocentrist movement. The Afrocentric movement started the last century as a way, in a good intention, to teach African American about their rich history of West Africa, the great empire of Benin, of Ghana, of Songhali, the great empire of Mali. But the thing is, that's why you find people like Kevin Hart, who subscribes to these theories, who claim that his ancestors built the pyramids. I'm sorry, your ancestors had their own wonderful civilization in West Africa. They are culture appropriating my culture, calling the people of Egypt of today, despite their skin tone, that they call us as invaders, they call us as intruders, and they are being erased from our own history.
Okay,
this is something that Hollywood has done over the years.
We need to realize that Cleopatra's story is less about her than it is about us. What have you been smoking?
Hi. I just want to share a few quotations from a stupid and idiotic Iranian director, Tina Gharavi, over the so-called docuseries Cleopatra. Born in Iran, I am Persian, and Cleopatra's heritage has been attributed at one time or another to the Greeks, the Macedonians, and the Persians. The known facts that her Macedonian Greek family, the Ptolemaic lineage, intermarried with West Asians' Seleucid dynasty and had been in Egypt for 300 years. After 300 years, surely, we can safely say Cleopatra was Egyptian. Doing the research, I realized what a political act it would be to see Cleopatra portrayed by a black actress. For me, the idea that people had gotten it so incredibly wrong before, historically, from Theda Bara to Monica Bellucci, and recently with Angelina Jolie and Gal Gadot in the running to play her, meant we had to get it even more right. The hunt was on to find the right performer to bring Cleopatra into the 21st century. Why couldn't they hire a researcher before making a documentary, for fuck's sake? While shooting, I became the target of a huge online hate campaign. Egyptians accused me of blackwashing and stealing their history. Well, you are blackwashing and stealing their history, you stupid woman. Some threatened to ruin my career, which I wanted to tell them was laughable. I was ruining it very well for myself. Thank you very much. No amount of reasoning or reminders that Arab invasions had not yet happened in Cleopatra's age seemed to stem the tide of ridiculous comments. Emir in his bedroom in Cairo wrote to me to earnestly appeal that Cleopatra was Greek. Oh Lord, why would that be a good thing to you, Emir? You're Egyptian. Why shouldn't Cleopatra be a melanated sister? And why do some people need Cleopatra to be white? Her proximity to whiteness seems to give her value, and for some Egyptians it seems to really matter. Because she is a Greek Macedonian, you stupid bitch! So, was Cleopatra black? We don't know for sure, but we can be certain she wasn't white like Elizabeth Taylor. We need to have a conversation with ourselves about our colorism and the internalized white supremacy that Hollywood has indoctrinated us with. Most of all, we need to realize that Cleopatra's story is less about her than it is about who we are. Now, I don't have an issue with any actress of any ethnicity to play Cleopatra, including black actresses, as long as it was not a factual documentation. But the problem is, it's a frickin' documentary. That means she has to be as accurate as she can be, as her true and historical self, as a Greek Macedonian pharaoh queen. And we have known this for decades. This isn't just a problem for Cleopatra VII and ancient Egypt. The idea of having historical revisionism over their race, as well as claiming Egypt as a black culture, is fucking stupid. And fuck that black guy, just because it's in bloody North Africa. Africa is a diverse continent with diverse cultures. So not everything in Africa is a black culture. And yes, the Greeks are Mediterranean and from Europe, so who fucking cares? And yes, Cleopatra's family are foreigners from northern Greece. And even if Cleopatra's entire family were from Nubia or from sub-Sahara Africa, I wouldn't be having this argument nor this conversation. I can imagine Cleopatra VII right now being so incredibly pissed she would break out of her sarcophagus and then go out on a warpath. So who will you race swap and piss off next? Queen Boudica? William Wilberforce? Or what about Joan of Arc? The empresses of ancient Rome? Or what about the legendary gladiator Spartacus? And don't get me started with the race swap of Harry, Ron and Hermione. And instead of doing a documentary on Cleopatra, why couldn't we have a documentary on Queen Amneris, one of the Sudan Egyptians of the south? And Queen Amneris defeated the invasion of the Roman Empire. Why couldn't we have a docuseries on this? And have the actress who played Cleopatra and other black actresses play the role of Queen Amneris? I can imagine people saying in the comments right now, saying, why are you defending people like Cleopatra, Julius Caesar, and so on, just because they're dead people? It's much more than that. Race swapping a real and historical person is like stealing their careers. That's why I fucking care, as well as stealing their lives. I have already seen a documentary myself, and it was crap. And it was an insult to the professors and the Egyptologists who partake the documentary and took their research and their own thoughts out of context. And Cleopatra VII, and historically, is a highly educated woman and never spends time complaining, and she has learnt all the languages, including my native language, Arabic, and she is not an overgrown, mean-spirited teenage brat. This is a major insult to one of the most famous pharaohs in Egyptian history and to modern-day Egyptians, and above all, a major insult to all black people. Check out these amazing videos from these amazing channels and YouTubers who can speak out much better than me over this controversy. Now, I have other things to do besides reminding and re-educating idiots about history. And if you think I am being a white supremacist, Go fuck yourself.